everyone, and welcome to Behind the Curtain for our upcoming feature of Apart Together. My name is Pablo Siqueiros, and I'm the Public Programs Associate Director. Apart Together will be a collection of performances showcasing the creative capacity and artistic expression of the members of our resident artist program. And for that reason, I've invited our resident artists so that they can tell you about these showcases themselves. So welcome, everyone. To start off, let's have each of you introduce yourselves, give us your name, your pronouns, and give us a brief description or tell us a little bit about your component or contribution toward this program. Let's start off with Mia.
Hi, Pablo.
Hi.
So my name is Mia Athey, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And the title of my showcase is Self-Love, My Remedy in the Pandemic. And in my showcase, I'll take you inside my journey to self-love while staying at home during the pandemic. And I'll be using the self-love tree and branches created by Christine Arilo from the Path of Self-Love School. And there are 10 branches of self-love that stem from self-worth. And I've put together a program where I'll perform opera arias and musical theater songs alternating to reflect each branch and the stem. And everything's been shot here in my apartment, so it's a Mia Athey stay-at-home production, and I'm really proud of that. And there'll be a lot of creative takes on these well-known songs and arias, so I'm really excited about it.
That sounds super interesting. Thanks, Mia. Let's go to Emily. Tell us about your contribution to these showcases.
Hello, my name is Emily Bashai. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the resident artist stage director. And I definitely, I had more of just a support role in the various projects that everyone was working on. And they sort of varied from project to project. So there's some that I haven't really seen much of, and I'm really excited to discover what people came up with. And others I worked in a coaching capacity, working on different scenes or monologues, some videography work. I also got to play in a piece on Leah's, which was really fun, and a little out of the ordinary of what we usually do. So yeah, it was great. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the finished product.
Oh, that sounds super fun and cool that you got to participate in a couple of different ways. So cool. Well, naturally, that leads us to Leah.
Hey, I'm Leah Brisky, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. My showcase called Finding Ophelia is all about and based off of works on Ophelia from Hamlet. She's been a character that I've been hugely interested in for a long time, but oftentimes she's kind of stereotyped as that, general woman in opera who goes crazy, loses her mind, that sort of thing. And I really want to shed like a different light on her and give sort of insight and voice and sort of reason as to why she does some of the things she does, why she behaves the way she does, and sort of take it from a female perspective for a change, which was great because I got to collaborate with Emily and Celeste and Mia, who wrote several pieces for the showcase. It was amazing to get to work with so many strong females who I really, really respect and admire. So that was amazing.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Thank you. Moving on to Frankie. Tell us about how you contributed to these showcases.
I'm Frankie Charles. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the resident assistant technical director at the opera. This is technically my second year. And yeah, I got to help coordinate moving from one showcase to the next over the course of the week. And I will say it was really nice to get to work from like 10 to 6 because typically we're doing much longer days. And it was just really, really great to be able to work with everybody on their pieces in this world that we live in right now where nobody gets to hang out with each other, but we got to do it. We did the thing. We made some art. So it was good. And I'm just very grateful to have been a part of it.
That's awesome. A very necessary person to have to coordinate all of those different positions. Moving on to Celeste Marie.
Hi everyone, I'm Celeste Marie Johnson, and I'm the resident artist pianist. I use she, her pronouns. One of my most vivid memories from March and April of 2020 is watching spring happen, is watching the tiny little green things come out on the trees and realizing that it was a time of year where normally I wasn't really paying attention to that because it's typically a really busy time of year, whether, school or production schedules, and having everything be an upheaval kind of brought me closer to what was happening in the immediate space around me. And so I designed my showcase to be a meditation and reflection upon the ways in which nature can bring us solace and perspective and a sense of belonging in difficult times. So my program includes solo piano, it includes songs, which Leah joined me for, and some poetry as well. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you all.
That's awesome. As someone who started a garden last year, I can definitely appreciate all of the plants starting to come back this year. It's very exciting. Alan Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alan Michael Jones. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm the Bay's resident artist. And I had a lot of fun with my showcase. My showcase consists of the circle of life and featuring the lifespan of trees as we walk through the journey, beginning with spring, where everything blooms and gives birth, and then summer, where things flourish and thrive, and then we move to fall, where things mature and gain experience. And then we finish off with winter, where eventually everything leaves us. There's a second underlining message with my story and with my showcase, and it's the story of a Black boy born in the middle of Jim Crow. And the songs kind of take us on a journey of his journey as he grows up in America, all the way until he passes on. So I had a lot of fun with this. A lot of inspiration with this showcase, and just had a lot of things to show, and had a great story to tell. And I was just happy I was able to finally tell it.
That's awesome. Very cool. Let's move on to Aaron.
Hi there, I'm Aaron Keeney, he, him, his, and I'm the baritone resident artist with Minnesota. For my showcase, I was thinking back on the past year and just reflecting, and kept seeing all of these things that happened and all of the mentalities that we've seen both politically and personally that have drawn out this pandemic and many other issues in our society longer than they need to have been dragged out. And so I wanted to focus on understanding what it is within our own natures that is isolating and destructive and drives us apart and guides us to make decisions that are harmful to both ourselves and to others. My recital is focused on one of my favorite passages of literature, which is Satan's monologue from Book 4 of Paradise Lost. And it is horrifying in the sense that it allows us to see, Satan as this embodiment of that which is most evil, but in such a relatable way, in a way that we find very human and very compelling. And I think that there is a lot to be said in that for falling into those patterns of these destructive behaviors. And I think that by understanding and self-reflecting those, we can better communicate with ourselves and with other people how to make decisions that can benefit all of us.
Mm. Very, very interesting, for sure. Joey.
Hi, I'm Joey Lepic. I'm the resident tenor artist. I use he, him pronouns. And my showcase was kind of an idea that has been turning in my head for a few years now. I'm kind of obsessed with like classic musical theater. I'm obsessed with all kinds of different stage dramas from that period. So I decided to do a sort of miscast version of a lot of your favorite Golden Age, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Gershwin type music that is normally written for women. So you probably haven't heard a lot of these songs sung by a tenor before, but I am singing it as a man, and I have not changed the pronouns. I have not changed the references to gender at all, because it was really important to me that I present as myself as a gay man who is actually, I fused it with dating during a pandemic, and what dating and romance looks like when it all takes place on a phone virtually. So I'm kind of an innocent character who is delving into Tinder for the first time and just falls in love again and again and again, and keeps getting his heart broken while he's singing songs written for women. So that's my showcase.
Amazing, amazing. So it's interesting, and with all of your answers, you kind of answered my following question, which I think I'm just going to skip over, because you all talked about what inspired you and what drew you to some of these pieces, and kind of what your thought process was that made you arrive to these pieces. So what are you hoping that audiences get from this, or what are you hoping audiences maybe learn about you through these showcases? And any of you can answer at this point.
I personally hope that my audience leaves sort of gaining the insight that characters that we're used to seeing in classic literature or classical opera, that it all depends on the perspective that you look at them through, that lens, that they can all have so many different sides depending on who's telling the story, and therefore taking into our own lives that we have the ability to tell our own story, not from anybody else's perspective, but our own, and that we have that sort of great power in doing that and taking charge of our own fate, our own future, and our own potential.
Interesting. Yeah, because when you were talking about it, it sort of made me think about other opera characters who are often portrayed very similarly as Ophelia.
Oh, definitely. So many leading ladies or even supporting female roles are taken into the perspective as they're kind of a pawn in the game, or they're hopeless and damsel in distress. So it's really cool to kind of get to show females in a different perspective than from, needing to be rescued or just kind of playing the game.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know exactly what I would expect audiences to pick up from, artists. So, it's all based off everybody's perspective or one's perspective. I do hope they gain a sense of, to further their respect of the art and their respect of someone conveying their message or their story through this type of art. Because it's not easy to always tell a story in this capacity. And so I just wish that, I hope that everyone, enjoys it really, have a good time watching all of us, and just make it seem like it's the old days. I know we're so, introverted right now, but I think this would be a great time for another space for people to say, you know what, as bad as things have been, I can just for an hour or so, clock out, check out, and just really enjoy the art made by these fine young people. And we'll go from there.
Love that. Any other thoughts on what you hope audiences get?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I speak for all of us when I say that we all have been dying for an opportunity to showcase our talents and show the world what we're good at performing. And it's been a long time where we haven't been able to perform. So it's been so cool being able to put forward what we think is best and having complete control over our showcases. For mine, I really wanted it to be funny and I really wanted it to be lighthearted. And I wanted people to just laugh and maybe have an opportunity to just be entertained. And I also wanted to speak about something that hits really close to home for a lot of people and might be very relatable, and that is dating virtually, which has been something that a lot of people have been discovering, and I wanted it to be very, very relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine there's many, many people in that position right now. Yeah.
I really hope that anyone that watches it is inspired to go on their own journey to self-love and maybe take a look at the branches and sort of do some self-reflection. I tried really hard to really focus on, like Leah was saying, when it comes to perspectives, my perspective of the songs and the arias I did. Some people might be surprised where I take it. It's not what you're expecting. So I hope that people can reflect and think, more about themselves and how things relate to themselves, especially since we have, or most of us have had so much time where we've been to ourselves and isolated. I just hope they can take that away.
Aaron?
I think I needed Mia's insight there to sort of spur me on to what I wanted to say. Because I think really what I want people to take away from my performance is very much the same idea in what is it that we need to do to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other. And I suppose that my recital is entirely different in that it's showing what the alternative is to that, in what happens when we don't do that. But thank you, Mia, because I think you just gave me a lot more clarity about what I'm actually trying to do here.
No problem.
I hope that in watching my showcase, there's an invitation to remember how we are all nourished by the earth, even when we may not be actively thinking about that. And I also hope that someone watching might feel inspired to participate just in being in the world, whether that's going for a walk or going for a drive in the country or watering their plant or whatever brings them joy.
Yeah. Emily and Frankie, since you were sort of involved with multiple of the showcases and can kind of get a bigger picture, what do you hope audiences get from these showcases?
I'd say one of, I think, the highlights of this project is that it gives everybody a chance to sort of show themselves wearing other hats that they wear sometimes when they're off of the opera stage. I think like our industry and the world in general are always really eager to kind of label people as a specialist in the thing they do. And I think that's just so rarely true and very rarely all encompassing of a person. Like, all of the resident artists, I'm so lucky to work with them. They're incredibly talented opera singers and performers, but also, I mean, Mia's a writer and Joey has this great crossover ability, and like Aaron tackled, this like monster of a verse text that like is just like so challenging even for like theater actors. And that was just really cool for me to see. So I hope everybody that watches these really looks out for that, because it's very, very cool.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and I want to just sort of echo what Emily said. It's just like the versatility of everybody that put themselves out there and created such amazing work. Like getting to sit through the filming was like the highlight of my day. Just like, okay, everyone's set, everyone has what they need, and they can just do their thing and be their best. And that's ultimately like that's the support that I want that everyone to be able to see through the end of their work. It's like there's vulnerability in creativity and in creation, and I take my job as a technical director as something that's as someone who's sort of trying to keep that integrity, and trying to just make sure that the people putting themselves out there feel like they're supported in the ways that they need. And it is definitely a learning curve with all of the COVID stuff, and like we do opera, we're not really a film company, but we're trying. We're figuring it out, that's for sure. And it's been nice to be involved with the other residents, just because we're all just trying to do our best in this world right now.
Absolutely. And just, hearing each of you talk about your own showcases or your involvement in the showcases, so much more is coming out as you as individuals, that maybe wouldn't normally be the case were this a normal year in a normal resident artist program, where you would probably just be performing a lot of roles one after the other and not really getting this opportunity to show your own kind of individuality, which is, I think, really unique and special. And I can't wait to see each of you showcase that. Yeah, Leah?
Yeah, I will say it's so rare that we get to wear a director's hat. In fact, one of our specialties as actors and performers is to be versatile and to be able to take direction ourselves and sort of be chameleons and taking that direction on. So to get the opportunity to completely from the ground up create an idea that maybe we've had for years, or maybe that's really current and resonates with us right now, is so special. And I will say, from what Frankie was saying too, that the creative team was incredible with taking some of these seeds of ideas that we had and blowing them up to something that was so achievable when film and that cinematography side isn't even our specialty. We're used to working on these larger scale sort of production. So it was incredible to work with such a versatile and catering team, and that had such great creative insight as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love it if one of these projects resonated with an artist or somebody who's watching it, if this empowered other operatic or classical musicians to sort of take the creativity into their own hands and see what can be possible with a camera and a microphone and just like a few weeks of conception, because I really think the future is on the internet, and the future is in video and sort of audio, and how can you connect with people through through this weird sort of form that we're not used to using. And I think that getting us these sort of skills and how to create something that's effective on screen is really helpful for everyone. And I hope that all artists out there, no matter what your resources are, feel empowered to start creating things themselves without permission from the gatekeepers or the old dogs of the industry or whatever, and just get out there and try something new, because I think who knows what's going to be successful or not, but I think it's worth trying if this has shown me anything.
Absolutely. So this showcase is called Apart Together. We are nearing the 1-year anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is wild to think about. What does it mean to you, sort of on a kind of a more philosophical level? Like, what does it mean to be apart and together at this time or over the past year?
I think as many miles we are, apart, and though we don't see each other in person anymore like we used to, we still can inspire. We still can inspire others to do something great in this life. We use the avenue of art and music to showcase those things. And that's the reason why we got into this, right? So that we can bring hope and change, to the ones who are watching. Kind of what Joey said. Hopefully, this could be a spark plug, for even more brilliant ideas. And as we're all in this thing together, as artists, as human beings, we can just push forward and make the best out of what life is right now. And I think it's that sense of camaraderie that we all know that we're all going through this, we're all in this, and we're all in this together. And despite our circumstances, we still can pull each other up, stay by each other's side, and just continue to inspire the ones that came after, before, and the ones that are here with us right now. So I think that's basically what that means to me.
And not to quote you to yourself, but in our interview that we did last month, you said something about, art allows us to share ideas or a message in a way that people will listen, which I thought was very wise. And yeah, this definitely will do that. Absolutely. Aaron, did you have something a little bit ago? I saw you sort of come forward.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's certainly much less profound, but I would say that so much of what the pandemic has forced us to do is to reconsider and reevaluate what is important in our lives. And I know, for me, my wife and I have reconnected, and we are talking more to our friends and to our families, whether that's on Zoom, whether that's on the phone, just being more proactive about making sure that we get to talk and hear those people and tell them that we love them. Mm-hmm. And whether that is from the ridiculous things like getting together with our friends once a week to drink and play Dungeons and Dragons, or to me wake up in the morning and play bridge with my dad when I have coffee. Like those things have become so valuable and so precious. And like whenever we finally get to go outside again, I don't think I'm going to lose those things, because I've realized how much those people and those activities mean.
That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else?
I guess I want to do a little shout out. Aaron's wife was involved in this and she helped a lot. So big thank you to Meryl. She's fantastic.
Woo!
I can say that for myself, I think it's 8 days from now will be the anniversary of me sending the email to Minnesota Opera and saying, I think it's best that I stay home. And it's so funny, I read over that email and I thought it was only going to last a couple weeks. Little did I know. But what's been so important for me during this time is connecting with my friends, and my friendships with just my friends or my relationships with my family members have really grown tremendously. And thanks to the internet, that's happening, but it's so important. And like Aaron was saying that, we've had time to realize what's really important once we turn off all the noise of like our busy lives and take some time to think of like, friendship's really important. investing in that's really important, and connecting is really important. And that's something that we as human beings crave. And I think that apart together, what that means is music brings us together. That's the whole point of music. It's not just for you to, I don't know, have one in the background and ignore. It's to bring, it's to connect people from all over. And I think it's great that we all get that opportunity to express ourselves with music through very different themes. Like everyone's theme is at a different part, like a different spectrum. Some overlap, but they're all very different perspectives, which is so neat. So that's what I think that means.
Yeah, going off of what Mia said, there's something extremely like comforting knowing that you can be watching or listening to something at the same time as other people, getting your own personal experience from it, but then sharing in that experience. Like this year I got married and my husband and I have been doing long distance, which is a challenge during normal times, but especially when there's a pandemic. But something he tells me is stronger together, even apart. And so that's what this makes me think of, is that even if we're apart experiencing these showcases or experiencing art and music, that we are stronger doing it as a group, as a community, and that we're not really alone.
I think part of the message of my showcase, maybe on the more negative side of this perspective, is that there is something kind of unsatisfying maybe about being apart together. And there, at least in my show, there's a lot of miscommunication that happens between the kind of protagonist and the people that he is kind of virtually hooking up with. And I think that it's important to recognize that some of us may have tapped out or sort of disappeared from the social world. Maybe the online world isn't as satisfying as, at least for me, it's not as satisfying as being with people in real life. And I feel like many people haven't heard from me in a long time because I just don't, I'm tapped out right now. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little just burned out from this whole like pandemic situation. And I think that my showcase kind of wanted to put that into a humorous light and made it a little laugh at the frustrations and the things that we're having to put up with. I think that we're all really excited for the light at the end of the tunnel, whenever that may be. And so I hope that we can just all, look back at this and laugh and just kind of like recognize that it's not all fun for sure. But yeah.
That is very accurate.
I think, yeah, well, going off of what Joey said about looking back at this time, I don't know about anybody else, but I know, especially like in the middle, kind of like low point of lockdown last year, I certainly got a lot of comfort and sort of, I felt a connection to art and music and writing and, sort of creation that has come out of times in history that were similarly challenging, like past pandemics or wars, or just like times when people felt really frustrated in their ability to kind of just connect to like their community and live their life the way they're used to. And I think it's really cool to think about the idea that what we are all doing right now and what we've all been doing for these last couple of months is gonna stick around. It's gonna be sort of this lasting documentation of like us as people living through this and how we experienced it. And if that could mean anything to somebody like 100 years from now who is going through another challenging time, I think that's really worth it and really cool.
Definitely.
I love what everyone's been saying, and I think even thinking back to when things started, going through something like a pandemic as a society, as a world, there has been for me a realization that we are more connected than we think. And at the same time as this experience has been drastically different for different people. It has impacted all of us in some way, and that is something that we share. And I think anywhere that we can find ways to remind ourselves of that connection and maybe feel that connection, and kind of like Leah was saying, for me, that has often been around, maybe watching a production that was being streamed and telling a friend about it, and she watches it, and then we text about it the next day. And I hope that this showcase can maybe be an opportunity for people to experience togetherness in that kind of way.
Definitely. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation with each of you, and it's making me really look forward to watching each of your showcases, what each of you bring as individuals. And like several of you already said, I hope that people do come together to watch this program, even though we might not be together in the theater and we might be apart from each other. That this creates that sense of connection through music, through art, and in the process, getting to know each of you on an artistic level. So for those of you watching this, Apart Together is going to be streaming April 3rd through the 17th. No cost. You can watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, all of our social media platforms, on our website. There's more information. Thank you to all 8 of you for joining me today. And I really can't wait to watch your showcase. Thanks again.